Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. I heard there's about 15 people on the cooking show today. I don't know if anybody's cooking or if you're just going to watch and then cook later. So if you are cooking, raise your hand. I'm just curious. Is anybody cooking or are they just going to watch me? Anybody cooking along?
Or you can put it in the chat.
Because if you are, we just might go a little bit fast, but that's why I want people to say, hang on a second. But if not, we'll just get going. So today, this is a holiday cooking show, and we're going to be making three things. One is a spiced Bundt, which is a cake, if nobody knows. And then we will be making some holiday bark. And I have three different ways to make it. And then we will make some little gifts of a hot cocoa in mason jars to give away. So we'll have some fun today. So the first thing we're going to do to get things kind of rolling, and I'm going to kind of jump in between a couple of recipes. That's why I want to know if anybody was cooking with me, but if not, that's great. Everyone's going to be watching. Awesome, awesome. So the first thing we're going to do is temper some chocolate for our holiday bark. Now, the recipe calls for 2 cups of chocolate, and you can use any type of chocolate you want, but the higher end chocolate, I have to say, like a Ghirardelli or a Goutard, something like that, is going to melt a lot better than, say, like Hershey's or something like that. Plus, this is more bittersweet, so it's going to taste a lot better. So 2 cups of chocolate, which will be basically like 1 bag. And so I'm going to put that in my double boiler, and we're going to let this melt for a bit. So it's going to take a little while to go. So I'm going to transition now to our spice cake a little bit. So this is a great holiday Bundt cake. And the reason why it's so good is because it's super moist. And the 2 ingredients that help out with that is an apple, and I'm using Honey Crisp. You can use any apple you want. I would not use a Granny Smith because it's a little bit too tart. Great for pie, but not for this recipe. And then there's also pureed pumpkin, straight up pumpkin, no spices added to the pumpkin puree. And that is going to add so much moisture to this Bundt cake. It's going to be fantastic. So the first thing I want to do is peel my apple to get that ready. And I have a trick. If you read the recipe, it says to finally chop the apple, but I have something much easier to do. The first thing we do, we want to peel it. And you can just, however you want to peel your apple, that'd be great. But I usually just take it and go around the core. I kind of make a game of it to see if I can get the whole thing done in one ribbon. I'm challenging myself. I'm still going. All right, it's going to take just a couple of seconds.
You can do it.
So we can get down. Let's see. If I do, I always give myself a surprise. Usually like an espresso or something like that. Oh, rats. Not too bad. So we go around and get it off. All right, so you want to peel it. And then we also want to core it. And the best way to core it would be just to slice the apple in half. And then we want to cut it in half again. You got 4 quarters. Be careful when you're cutting, and you just want to cut down so you take off a piece. So there's no little bits there, no core, no seeds. You got a little bit of skin still on it, you just take it off like that. We have it like this. So instead of like finely chopping it, which may not give you like equal pieces, use your box grater if you have one. They're super easy to use. You just take it and you grate your apple. Really fast, you gotta be careful when you get down to the end of it, you don't like grate your fingers into it. You know, using a box grater, I use a box grater also when I make scones because I freeze the butter, or I keep it in the fridge so it's ice cold. And so pretend this is like a stick of butter, and you just grate the butter. It's great for making scones, pie dough, instead of using like a pastry knife or 2 knives, it just takes forever to do. So you just like grate your butter into your flour.
Lisa says, great idea, GRATE.
It's super easy. So now you just got this grated. It's nice and easy, and everything's like equal pieces. So that's really great to do. All right, so we have our apples grated. So now we're going to start assembling the Bundt itself. First thing you want to do is turn on your oven, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So I'm going to turn my magic oven on, 350 degrees. And then you're going to get your Bundt mold. And you know, you can get all different types of Bundt molds. Here's one that's just kind of standard, nicely fluted. You can get some that are more decorative, whatever it might be. But you want to get some spray, and this is actually a spray with some flour in it. I wouldn't use one like with canola oil only. Like using a baker's spray. And you really want to coat it around the whole thing. And don't forget to get the inside of the little tube part. You want to just coat it up really nicely. We have it all done like that. That's nice. You want to get everything ready before you want to get this floured up beforehand. So the first thing we need to do is to take our butter, and we have 9 tablespoons of butter that is at room temperature. So you want to let it sit out. And you know, you can let butter sit out like overnight. It's not going to go bad. I mean, you can let butter sit out all day long and for a couple of days, and you're going to be fine. You're not going to get any kind of sickness from it. You want to add your butter and your 2 sugars to the bowl. And that is a half a cup of brown sugar, dark brown sugar. I like using dark brown sugar. It just has more of a deeper taste, and 1 cup of granulated sugar. You have that in your mixing bowl. And then you have your flour, 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I like using unbleached flour. I just think it's maybe a little bit healthier, and it just is a better taste for me.
Question from Maria. She asked, can you use less sugar?
It's a good question, Maria. I wouldn't, because it's going to change the chemistry of the cooking. You know, baking is a little bit different than everything else. So when you start to reduce some ingredients, you may not get the same sort of lift or the binding effect to it. If you wanted to, you could maybe use a substitute such as like Splenda or something like that. But I don't know the ratio of doing that. I think it might be a 1-for-1, but I really wouldn't reduce it.
She asked coconut sugar.
Coconut sugar, I suppose you could try it. That's the best thing about cooking. You know, try it. If it didn't work out, well, you learn, and then you can go back and try something else. It's always an experimentation, but baking is always a chemistry, so it's a little bit different. So we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then we have our spices. So we have 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of ground, what do we have? Let's see, cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ginger, half a teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a pinch of salt. So I have them all combined already. And you want to add that to your flour. Okay. So now you want to turn on your mixer to cream the butter and the sugar. I'm holding on to my mixing bowl because I'm going to go back and check my chocolate. It's starting to nicely temper me, or it's melting. That's good. And mix this up. Also have 2 eggs for this recipe. I always tend to crack my eggs into a separate bowl. Some people always get crack them in there, but you know what? You might get an eggshell. You do it in a separate bowl, and it does get an eggshell in there. You can easily get it out. You want to make sure when you're mixing the sugars and the butter until it gets nice, fluffy, light. If you see the chocolate, Kind of, you melted. You get that in a second. So these recipes come together very easily, really fast. Just doing a little bit of prep work prior to it. So if everybody wants to see this, it just kind of comes together like a dough a little bit. All right. So now we are going to add our eggs. We're going to add them one at a time. What you're looking for is just going to, until it gets incorporated. It starts to slosh around a little bit. If any batter, it kind of gets stuck to the side or at the bottom of the bowl, you can just turn it off for a quick second and just straighten it down. Turn it back on. It's at medium speed. You can tell when they're all incorporated when they start to get a little bit kind of mush a little bit like this, just a little bit. Let's add our second egg. Medium speed. Then we're going to add our vanilla, which is just a teaspoon of vanilla, not too much. You can add more if you want. That's not going to really change too much. I just go to eye it up. Just a little bit of a shot. Also, at this time, if you really wanted to add another level of flavor, you can add just like maybe a teaspoon of brandy or rum if you wanted to. That really will change it. It's almost kind of turning into kind of a fruitcake a little bit. It's pretty nice. Now with that second egg, it's really nice, mixed really well. Okay. Now we are going to add. I have to keep track of my own recipes. I forget sometimes. Now we're going to add our pumpkin. And the apple. It's really going to give a moisture. And this is just canned pumpkin. Doesn't have to be anything special. Add the pumpkin. And then you add the entire apple. Okay. Just mix it up a little bit. Incorporate it. And then we want to add our flour and the spices. Okay. You want to turn it off for a quick second and just straight down the side, get any residue that's up on the side. Work on a paddle. We are using a paddle, not a whisk. We're going to turn that around. And then I want to add some dried fruits, and this recipe calls for cranberries, but feel free to use whatever you want. Dried cherries, figs, whatever it might be. You can change it up. You just add those in. You just want to build it, turn it on just for a little bit. It's like a little bit of a fold. You have it mixed. Batter off. Just give it a little bit of a look-see. See how it is underneath. Make sure there's no flour underneath. And what it looks like, it's just all mixed together. The next step is just to add it to the pan. So you can't really pour it, so you want to take a little scoops and pour it in, kind of like on the quarters. Okay. Want to fill it in. Get the majority of it in. So it kind of looks like that. You can see that. And what you want to do then is you want to kind of smooth it out a little bit. It kind of doesn't have to be completely flat. Just like that. Okay. So then you put it in the oven. And every oven is different. So this recipe calls for about 60 to 70 minutes. The oven at the cafe, I can get this done in 55 minutes, but it's more of an industrial size oven. So, start on the low end, like maybe 55 minutes. And then if you have to, you can test it. I don't know if you have a skewer, or if you have your own little cake tester to put it in. If it comes out dry, then it's done. So then you take it out of the oven, put it on a cookie sheet, or if you have a cooling rack, and you can just let it sit there for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna put mine in my magic oven.
You can still see it.
Okay. I'll put it in my magic oven. Doesn't have foil on it. I just put it on it because I made it yesterday.
Wow, a magic oven.
All right. You take it out of the oven, or out of after cooling for about 10 minutes. And you can put like some parchment paper down and you put this underneath. It'll still be a little bit warm. And then you just flip it over. And then it comes out. That's it. So it's really nice. And it smells, very holiday. You can smell the apples and the pumpkin in there. So that's how that recipe comes together. Now, you can leave it plain like this. You can dust it with powdered sugar. This recipe, I suggested a maple glaze. And we can make that really quick. Super, super easy. Comes together in no time. So this recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of powdered sugar. And, it doesn't have to be exact or something like this. I'm not baking it, but 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 2 tablespoons of some maple syrup. You put that in. So with your own. Now, if it's too thick for you, add a little bit more syrup. If it's too thin for you, add a little bit more powdered sugar. Whatever you like. I think it's a little bit too thick for me right now. So I bump it up one more. I think it's still a little bit too thick of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 more. So I've done a total of 5. No, a little bit thinner. Finish like that. So then you can take a spoon. And you want to do this, you want to put the icing on when it's really cool, because if it's too hot, it's just gonna really melt into it. And you can put it on any way you want. Usually I just go like in the center of the cake and drizzle it down. Working your way around. You can put on as much as you want, or as little as you want. Again, you don't have to put anything on it, because the cake is super moist. Put some powdered sugar on it and then add this on it. That is the Bundt, the spiced Bundt cake. And if I would cut into it, Let's take a look at it. I don't know if you can see it, but you know, it's super moist. It's very springy. And it is very flavorful. I think you guys would enjoy it. And again, have fun with it. You know, changing up the fruit. If you want to put different glaze on it, an orange glaze perhaps, you can change up instead of having a maple syrup, you can put orange juice in with the powdered sugar, whatever it might be.
And Lisa says we all just need to go to the library in about 45 minutes for samples.
Yes, come on over for sure. Guaranteed. I forgot to say that. Anyone is welcome to come over and we can sample everything that we're doing. For sure. Okay, so now on to the bark. Now, traditionally, I think everyone knows how to make bark. Really, you just temper some chocolate, and then you put it on a pan. And so I'm going to show you that way to do it first, and then I have two other things that we can do with it. So, I have melted my chocolate, which is just really nice and runny right now. And what I do is, I take some spray tan, I have a parchment sheet, and I put a little spray down, just kind of hold it in place. And then you want to take your chocolate, and well, first we're going to take the chocolate, and you're just going to pour it onto the pan. Right, this is all we're doing. Going to put a little bit of chocolate there. And if you want to have a larger portion, you could just melt, you know, like 4 cups and fill up an entire pan. And then you just want to smooth it out a little bit. You don't want it too thick. I try to work in a try to put it into like a rectangular shape. Smooth it out. It's kind of therapeutic to do it. Kind of Zenish, you know, like one of those gardens that you have in a rake, you just do the chocolate inside.
It's better than the sun.
You smooth it out like this. Okay. So then from there is where you can put on any type of topping you want. And there's really no limit to what you can do. It's the holidays, so you can have some fun with it. One thing you could do is, and I tried to do this yesterday, but my white chocolate wasn't melting very well. You could take white chocolate and put globs of white chocolate on here, and then you would swirl it around with a bamboo stick, and then you kind of get it like you swirl with it. So instead, I just got some white chocolate, and I'm going to just put in it to add some white chocolate. Some people like white chocolate. Just sprinkle it around. Here's definitely something holiday. It's candy cane. So it's just candy canes that I've broken up, and you can just put these on here. As many as you want. Here's some ginger snap cookies. I tried to find some tiny gingerbread men cookies. I know they're out there. I couldn't get any, but that would be kind of cool to have on your little gingerbread men. You put some cookies on here, some broken up cookies. You add some pretzels, some salted pretzels, broken up pretzels. Just add that all over. And then I thought, you know what, you kind of put some Swedish fish. Add some red color to it, you know, why not? Let's add some Swedish fish. Okay. And then what you do, oh, and then I have some sugar flakes. Add like some snowflake like that. Put that over it like that. Then we have, it looks like that. And what you do then is you put this into the fridge. like an hour. It'll harden up pretty quickly. And then it will release very easily from this pan. And I'll show you that in a second. Another way to do this bar, a lot easier, you don't have to temper chocolate or anything, is to clear it out. My sous chef got sick today. I don't know where they went. Well, that's the food industry for you. So the other way to do this is, and this is just a sample. So you can just take chocolate bars. You get all different type of chocolate: milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate bars. And what you do is, so I'm just going to use the empty packaging what I did. And what you do is you lay them out onto the sheet pan. Okay. So you get like these three ones. So here's like some dark chocolate. Here's like an 85% chocolate. So you put them on the sheet pan like this, and you preheat your oven to 250 degrees. And you put this in the oven for like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and it gets really soft. And then what you do is you take your skewer, and if you get a white chocolate bar, if you wanted to, you could break them up, you know, in half, and then kind of stack them in different arrangements. After about 10 or 15 minutes, you just take your skewer, and then you can swirl all the flavors together. And you can even get some flavored chocolate bars. Like, I have to say though, like if you get like this intense orange one with almonds, it's going to be kind of hard to do because there's actually like orange rind and almond pieces in here. So when you try to swirl it, it's going to get all chunky. So, you know, stay away from like caramel chocolate or stuff like that. You just want to stay with kind of a pure chocolate, different flavors of it. So you swirl it around to get your flavors combined. And then again, you just add your toppings right away to it. And then it goes into the fridge. So that's the second way. Third way, is to use a form. Kind of cool. You can use any type of form, you know, what you do is take your melted chocolate and you pour it into the form.
Quick question,
Yeah.
Rob. To clarify, you said to take them out of the wrapper, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, take the chocolate. That was just for a demo.
Yes.
And that wouldn't be very healthy to eat the plastic. So definitely take it out of the, take the chocolate
From the steak you make once.
out of the wrapper. Yeah. Is that from Maria?
Yes, that was from Maria.
I'm gonna get you later. She works here. So you put the chocolate into the mold, and if you have to, you can kind of push it out to the end so the mold gets filled. Just like that. Okay. And then again, you would add your topping to it, whatever you wanted to do. And again, this is going in the fridge. So for the Christmas tree, there's like a finished one for the Christmas tree. Okay. And you know, then you can decorate it, or I mean, you can put it into a bag. You know, and get some red string. What do you want to do? Put a little note on it, whatever it might be, and give it away as a stocking stuffer, or just as a gift to go to someone's house, or whatever it might be. So that's the tree. Then let's see what these look like. So here is one. This was made with the chips. And here's like a big one made with the chip. All right. And then here's one that was made with the bars. And if you notice, if you do with the bars, it's a little bit more of a rectangular shape. But it's pretty much the same. It's a lot easier. And then what you do with this, you have this gigantic sheet of chocolate, and it comes out of your fridge. You see how easily it releases? You take it then, and you just break it up into pieces. And they can be all types of pieces, you know, little chunks, whatever it might be. And then again, you can take a bag, put them in. So you may run just with white chocolate, so you can do a combination of dark chocolate and white chocolate. You can just take your red ribbon or whatever you want. You know, you can make a note, attach it to the red ribbon, tie it on, and then there you got another gift, little giveaway.
For your coworkers.
For your coworkers, yeah, because everybody's gonna eat this here at the cafe. Or if you can't, stop by. All right. So those are the two things. So now let's see, our third recipe is the hot cocoa giveaway, another gift. Again, super easy to make. I bet you probably have at least half or more of the ingredients in your house already. What you need is a clean mason jar. I got these at Walmart. They have a bunch of them. They come in different sizes. This is a 16 ounce. They have 4 ounces. They have quarts, whatever you want to do. So you open it up. And what we're going to be using is sugar, cocoa powder, and this is dark cocoa powder, chocolate chips, and these are Toll House, the minis. That's the tiny things like in your belly, little tiny ones. So these were fine. Marshmallows and instant dry milk and just a touch of salt. So what you want to do is and get a funnel, which I find out works really nice. So this is and this amount is really good for like 4 servings, unless you really want a gigantic mug. But you can get like 4 little cups out of this. And I have to tell you, this is super rich. The recipe that I gave you said milk or water. I would, if you want to use milk, that's fine. It's going to be even extra rich because of the dry milk. So, you know, opt for water because of the dry milk here. It's going to taste good as it is. So we start with our sugar. And what you're going to do is you're going to be layering the ingredients. So I cut this recipe that I have basically in half because I have not a, I don't have a quart, I have a pint. So I'm cutting this recipe in half. So instead of 1 cup of sugar, it's a half a cup of sugar. All right, so you just pour it in. And it goes in. Right. Then the next is the cocoa powder. And it is a half a cup of cocoa powder. I wouldn't be pouring it like this because cocoa powder is really light, and once it comes out, it's going to all over your kitchen. It's quite a mess. So use a spoon to get it out. Get a half a cup. Funnel. It doesn't go down as easily as the sugar. You just tap it. And it goes in. It's a toe tap. Yeah. There you go. You
can dance to.
You can't. Yeah, the cocoa powder. Then we're going to use our powdered milk. And again, this is just a half a cup because I'm halving the recipe. Having the recipe. Second. That's not right. Then a pinch of salt. And one pinch is your pointer finger and your thumb. That's one pinch. It can be two pinches. You want more salt, then do two. But just a little pinch. We're going to add a little bit of salt in it. Right, and then we're going to do a half a cup or a quarter cup of that. You want to add more, you can. And then we're going to just top it off with some marshmallow. It says like a half a cup, but you just top it off like that. Okay. When you have that there, and then what you want to do is you can add some decorations to it if you want. So you take like a cupcake, you put the lid on, okay. Then you take the cupcake, and you try to get it on there, center it as best you can. You put the lid on. You apply a little bit of pressure so it catches, and then you have your little hat on it. Then, if you wanted to, like I did for this one, you can write on top, to and from, and then you can take some red ribbon or whatever you want to do, tie it around the top, and then I printed out the serving suggestion. How to add the milk or water, and what to do with it. So you just add that on there. And then you can do other things to it as well. You could get some candy cane and glue it to it. On Amazon, they have candy cane stirring spoons that some have chocolate, some are meltable, like candy cane. You put it in there, so that'll give another flavor to it. I have to say, warming up the milk or water, I go with water, and then you pour the whole thing into the water after it starts to come to a simmer, and you constantly stir because it is the dried milk needs to be really whisked up. You whisk it up, the marshmallows will probably melt, so we can add some additional marshmallows to the poured hot cocoa. You can add some whipped cream to it if you want, whatever you want to do. You could add some peppermint extract to it to give it a peppermint flavor. Again, if you're an adult, you could put some rum or brandy in it if you wanted to, and do whatever you want with it. So it's a nice little giveaway. So you have like a giveaway here, and there's another giveaway, and there's this like Bundt Cake that you could bring to the party, and hopefully your holidays will be easy. I think these are pretty easy recipes to make. That's really all I had to cook today. I do have to get back to the kitchen and cook something over there, I think.
Let's see, does anybody have any questions?
No question?
I want to know if you do birthday parties.
Someone asked that?
No, that was
Oh.
Joy. Somebody's
Sure.
we have
Hey,
from
special.
Lisa, thank you. Those are some great ideas. Joni says thank you. Just gonna give a couple of seconds to see if anybody else has any other questions.
Well, please stop by if you're in the neighborhood, or if you come to the library, come on by for some Bundt, or some bark.
Maria says, thanks, Rob. Lots of fun. Okay, it seems like we don't have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Bye.
Bye.